Episode 3, Types of Empaths. Not all empaths are the same. Some heal with pure compassion, some rise from the ashes stronger than ever, and some use their gifts to manipulate. Which one are you? Or which one have you been dealing with? Today we're going to break it all down. This is the Awakened Soul Co-podcast, your space to awaken your soul, step into your truth, and elevate your energy. Let's start with the basics. The word empath gets used a lot, but there are actually different types of empaths, and knowing the differences can completely change the way you navigate relationships, work environments, and your own personal growth. At the broadest level, we have 3 categories: the empath, the super empath, and the dark empath. An empath is someone who can deeply feel and absorb their emotions and energies of others. A super empath has the same emotional depth, but pairs it with resilience, self-awareness, and strong boundaries. A dark empath also has high empathy, but uses it strategically, sometimes manipulating to serve their own interests. Why does this matter? Because whether you're on the giving or receiving end of these traits, it shapes the health of your relationships and how you show up in the world and how you protect or compromise your own energy. You might think back to a time when you felt completely seen and supported versus a time when someone's empathy felt like a cane with strings attached. In the past, when dealing with a dark empath, I didn't realize it at the time until after the situation was done. I think it's important to understand the difference so you can discern in the moment what is right for you. The introduction to empath types. An empath is someone who has heightened ability to sense, feel, and absorb the emotions and energies of others. This can manifest as physical sensations, emotional reactions, or even intuitive knowing. While empath is a broad term, not all empaths are the same. Within this spectrum, we have the empath, the super empath, and the dark empath, each with unique traits, strengths, and challenges. The distinctions are important because they influence not only how you interact with others, but also how others respond to you. Understanding these differences can be life-changing. In relationships, knowing the type of empath you are or are dealing with can prevent emotional entanglement, manipulation, and repeat cycles of hurt. In the workplace, these distinctions can help you identify your strengths in collaborations, leadership, or conflict resolution, and also spot potential energy drains or toxic dynamics early. On a personal growth level, self-awareness around your empathetic nature allows you to take control of your emotional health. It's the difference between living at the mercy of your sensitivity versus harnessing it as a superpower. This episode aims to clarify the traits, gifts, and shadows of each type so you can approach your relationship and life choices with clarity and confidence. The empath. The classic empath is characterized by deep sensitivity, compassion, and an almost uncanny ability to emotionally attune to others. They often feel the emotions of other people around them as if those emotions were their own. This makes them excellent listeners, comforters, and supporters. Their presence can feel safe and healing, and they often have a natural ability to nurture and create emotional connection in any environment. However, their gift of empathy comes with challenges. Without strong boundaries, empaths can absorb too much from others, leading to emotional exhaustion or burnout. They often struggle to say no because their instinct is to help, even when it's at their own expense. This tendency can make them prime targets for energy vampires, people who drain their emotional resources without giving back. The journey of the empath often involves learning how to balance compassion with self-preservation. This means recognizing when they're overexerting themselves, practicing self-care, and building the courage to set and hold up boundaries without guilt. An empath who learns to manage these challenges can thrive without losing depths and beauty of their emotional gifts. For instance, imagine an empath working in a busy office where coworkers often come to them for emotional support. By midday, they can feel drained from absorbing everyone's stress. To protect their energy, they might start their day with a 5-minute grounding practice, visualizing roots extending from the feet deep into the earth. anchoring them in stability. Throughout the day, they could set clear boundaries by gently redirecting lengthy emotional conversations to schedule breaks, rather than allowing them to slip into every moment. At the end of the day, they might take a quiet walk in nature or practice a short-term meditation to release any emotions that aren't theirs to carry. Over time, these small intentional practices help them show up with compassion without sacrificing their own well-being. The Super Empath. A super empath possesses all the sensitivities and compassions of a regular empath, but is anchored by a strong sense of self and resilience. They can read emotions and energies with incredible accuracy, yet they also have an inner strength to maintain boundaries and protect their well-being. This combination makes them particularly powerful in relationships. They can see through the manipulation and deception, often long before others notice. One of the defining traits of the super empath is their ability to confront harmful behaviors head on. Unlike a regular empath who may shy away from conflict, a super empath can call out manipulation while remaining grounded. They are masters of emotional boundaries and energetic protection, and this strength often draws both admiration and unwanted attention from manipulative personalities. Super empaths often transmute their own pain into purpose. They may have faced significant trauma or adversity in the past, but rather than being defined by it, they used it to help others heal, speak truth, and inspire change. Their challenge is that their light attracts both those who seek healing and those who seek to control or diminish it, most notably narcissists, who are often drawn to the super empath's combination of empathy and strength. For example, a super empath working as a team leader might use their emotional intelligence to sense when a project is causing silent stress among team members before anyone voices it. Instead of letting tension grow, they can address the issue directly and compassionately, creating space for open dialogue while keeping the group focused on solutions. In their personal life, they may support a friend through a difficult breakup, offering empathy without getting entangled in the friend's emotional storm. They can validate feelings while gently guide the person towards self-empowerment. Whether in work, relationships, or community roles, the super empath naturally balances heart and backbone, offering support that heals while holding boundaries that protects everyone involved. A super empath protects their energy through a blend of intuition, boundaries, and conscious self-regulation, and the key is that they do it proactively rather than waiting until they feel drained. One of their main tools is energetic discernment, being able to sense when a conversation, situation, or relationship is pulling too much from them and choosing how much of themselves to give. They're not afraid to pause mid-interaction and silently check in with themselves. Am I still grounded? Am I talking too much? Am I taking too much of this person's energy? That awareness allows them to step back before depletion sets in. They also practice clear, concise boundaries, not just in words, but in energy. This might look like limiting time spent with people who constantly offload their problems, declining invitations that feel heavy or misaligned, or redirecting conversations when they start veering into emotional dumping. Importantly, they do this without guilt. Knowing their well-being allows them to serve from a full cup. Finally, they prioritize energetic hygiene just like they would physical hygiene. They could include daily grounding exercises, visualization techniques, such as imagining a golden shield of light around them, meditation, journaling to release emotional residue, or spending time in nature to reset their system. By making these practices a habit, a super empath stays clear, centered, and able to use their gifts without sacrificing their vitality. The Dark Empath. A Dark Empath is perhaps one of the most complex personalities in the empath spectrum. They have a high capacity for empathy, but instead of using it to heal and connect, they may leverage it for manipulation, control, or personal gain. Their ability to read emotions give them a strategic advantage in influencing others, and they often use charm, persuasion, or subtle guilt tripping to get what they want. In personal relationships, a dark empath can be both magnetic and destructive. They may appear understanding and compassionate on the surface, but beneath lies an intention that serves them more than the others. This duality makes them difficult to spot, especially for those who equate empathy solely with kindness. Professionally, they may excel in leadership or sales roles, but their tactics can be ethically questionable. The danger of the dark empath lies in their awareness. They know the impact they have on others and may exploit it. Unlike narcissists who lack true empathy, dark empaths understand emotions deeply but choose to weaponize that understanding. Recognizing their signs early, such as subtle manipulation, inconsistent compassion, or conditional support, can help protect you from their influence. For example, imagine meeting someone who seems genuinely interested in your struggles. They listen intently, validate your feelings, and even share personal stories that make you feel instantly connected. Over time, though, you notice a pattern. Every act of support eventually circles back to something they want from you. They might subtly remind you of how much they've helped you, a frame of your choices in a way that makes you feel guilty for not agreeing with them. When you try to set a boundary, their tone shifts from warm to cold, and their compassion suddenly disappears. This blend of charm, selective empathy, and emotional leverage is a hallmark of the dark empath. They make you feel seen, but only as long as it serves their purpose. In a professional setting, a dark empath might present as a colleague who always seems to know when you're stressed and offers a sympathetic ear. They might even step in to help with a project, positioning themselves as your ally. But soon, you notice they're subtly taking credit for your work in meetings or using information you shared to influence how others perceive you. When you confront them, they quickly pivot, offering a heartfelt apology and an explanation that makes you second-guess your instincts. This cycle of charm, subtle undermining, and emotional manipulation keeps you off balance, making it harder to call out the behavior without looking overly sensitive. In this way, the dark empath's deep emotional insight becomes a tool for self-advancement rather than mutual success. You might ask yourself, is the dark empath a narcissist? Not necessarily. Although a dark empath and a narcissist can share some overlapping behaviors, they're not the same thing. The key difference is empathy capacity. They struggle to truly feel or understand another person's emotion. Any caring behavior they display is usually superficial or strategic. A dark empath, on the other hand, do feel and understand emotions deeply. They can genuinely interpret your feelings, but they choose to use that awareness for personal gain, manipulation, or control rather than for connecting or healing. In other words, a narcissist's manipulation comes from a lack of empathy combined with self-centeredness, whereas a dark empath's manipulation comes from possessing empathy but weaponizing it. Some dark empaths might also have a narcissistic trait, which can make them specifically dangerous because they combine emotional intelligence with self-serving motives. How to recognize which one you are dealing with. Identifying your empath type starts with noticing patterns. Ask yourself, how do you communicate in emotionally charged situations? Do you absorb others' feelings without realizing it? Or do you remain grounded, able to sense emotions but not lose yourself in them? If you're observing someone else, watch for consistency between their words and their actions, especially in moments of tension. Energy after interactions is another powerful clue. When you spend time with a healthy empath or super empath, you're typically feeling seen, supported, and respected. With a dark empath, you might feel subtly manipulated, confused, or drained, even if the conversations seem pleasant. These after effects can reveal more truth than the interaction itself. Self-reflection is key. Journaling about your emotional experiences, practicing mindfulness, and asking trusted friends for feedback can help you understand where you fit in the spectrum. The goal isn't to label yourself permanently, but to use awareness to grow into the healthiest, most empowered version of your empathetic self. Think of it like an emotional energy scale that runs from low vibration depletion to high vibration uplift. After spending time with someone, your body and emotions often know the truth before your mind catches up. If you've been with a healthy empath, you'll likely find yourself somewhere in the mid to high range on that scale. You might feel emotionally lighter, more understood, and calm, Even if the conversation covered difficult topics, you leave feeling like a weight has been lifted, your emotions validated, and your presence appreciated. It's the kind of energy that feels safe, grounded, and nurturing, like sitting in a warm sunlight after being in the cold. With a super empath, the vibrational lift can be even stronger. You might leave the interaction feeling not only seen, but also inspired, clear-headed, and motivated to take action in your own life. Their energy tends to spark confidence and clarity in others because they can hold space without absorbing your heaviness, while still offering guidance that moves you forward. It's an energizing experience. You walk away feeling like you've been recharged, standing taller and breathing more deeply. A dark empath, however, shifts you towards the low end of the energy scale. This might not happen immediately. In fact, you could leave the conversation feeling flattered, understood, or even charmed. But within hours or days, you may notice an undercut of unease, feeling emotionally drained, second-guessing yourself, or sense of unspoken obligation to them. The vibrational drop is subtle, but real, leaving you feeling heavier, more uncertain, or strangely guilty without a clear reason why. This is because they've tapped into your emotions not to lighten your load, but to create a subtle tether that serves their own agenda. By paying attention to where you land on the emotional energy scale after each interaction, uplifted, neutral, or depleted, you can start to recognize patterns and discern whether you're engaging with a healthy empath, a super empath, or a dark empath. Your energy after encountering is often the clearest truth teller. I did also want to include the narcissist in this scale as well to help you understand the difference. On the emotional energy scale, a narcissist typically places you at the lowest end. This is because a narcissist, there's no genuine energetic exchange. They're not absorbing your emotions to connect or understand. They're extracting your energy to fuel their own need for validation, control, or superiority. Interactions with them can feel like standing in front of a vacuum. You're pouring out attention, reassurance, or emotional labor, and nothing nourishing is coming back. Here's an example of emotional drainage. Imagine you have a conversation with a narcissistic coworker after a team meeting. They spend the entire time talking about their accomplishment, subtly dismissing your contributions, and hinting that you should do more to meet the standard. If you share a personal win, they might downplay it or twist it into how they help you achieve it. By the end, you feel deflated, questioning your warmth, replaying the conversation to see if you misspoke, and feeling an urge to prove yourself next time. This isn't just emotional tiredness, it's a deep depletion because the entire interaction was about meeting their ego's needs, not fostering mutual understanding or support. Unlike the subtle drop you might feel after an encounter with a dark empath, a narcissist's impact often feels sharper and more immediate, like someone has siphoned off your confidence and replaced it with self-doubt. On the energy scale, this is a clear red flag that your boundaries have been breached and your emotional resources drained without replenishment. Empathetic boundaries and self-mastery. Boundaries are essential for all empaths, but especially for those that wish to thrive rather than survive. Building emotional resilience means being able to feel deeply without being consumed. This starts with clear boundaries, knowing what's yours to carry and what isn't. Without them, empaths risk losing themselves in the need and emotions of others. Not overgiving is another form of mastery. Empaths often give without measuring their own capacity, believing their worth is tied to how much they help. Self-mastery involves shifting from reactive giving, responding to every emotional cue, to intentional giving, where the support is offered from a balanced place. Understanding energetic hygiene is the final piece. Just as we clean our physical bodies, we need practices to clear and protect our energy fields. Things like grounding exercises, meditation, cord cutting rituals, or time in nature. These habits prevent emotional buildup and keep your energy system strong and vibrant, even in challenging environments. For beginners, energetic hygiene does not have to be complicated. And here's 3 ways you can start. Grounding breath in the morning. Before you even check your phone, take 3 slow, deep breaths. As you inhale, imagine drawing in the light and strength. As you exhale, Picture releasing any tension or emotional residual from yesterday. This quick ritual sets the tone for a balanced day. Nature resets breaks. Spend 5 minutes outside each day. Even if it's on your balcony or by an open window, focus on feeling the fresh air on your skin and the sounds around you. Nature naturally helps clear stagnant energy and restore emotional balance. And the last one, end of day energy releases. Before bed, close your eyes and visualize a gentle waterfall of light flowing over your body, washing away any emotions or energies that aren't yours. Imagine them dissolving into the earth, leaving you calm, light, and ready for rest. Transforming empathy into empowerment. The journey from disempowered empath to empowered empath is not something that happens overnight. It's an intentional process that requires both awareness and action. It begins with recognizing the patterns that have kept you in cycles of overgiving, people-pleasing, or self-abandonment. Many empaths grew up in environments where their sensitivity was either unappreciated or exploited, teaching them to prioritize others' needs over their own. Without realizing it, they began to equate their value with how much they could give, fix, or heal in others. Breaking free from that conditioning takes conscious choice and consistent practice. Practice tools become vital here. Meditation helps you create space between feeling an emotion and reacting to it, so you're less likely to get swept into someone else's storm. Shadow work allows you to uncover and integrate the parts of yourself you've hidden or suppressed. Often the boundaries, self-respect, or self-expression that were discouraged in the past. Therapy offers a safe container to process emotional wounds and reframe your beliefs, while journaling gives you a private space to track progress, notice patterns, and celebrate small victories. Each of these tools work together to release old narratives and reclaim your emotional sovereignty. Moving towards the Super Empath archetype requires mastering the balance between heart and spine, between compassion and self-protection. This means learning to say no without guilt, trusting your inner voice even when it contradicts external opinions, and standing firmly in your truth even when it's unpredictable. You start to view boundaries not as walls to keep people out, but as gates that allow in only what is healthy and aligned. You also begin to redefine helping, not as rescuing people from discomfort, but also holding space for them to navigate their own journey while preserving their own well-being. True empowerment comes when empathy becomes a choice rather than a compulsion. Instead of automatically absorbing and fixing, you learn to discern, is this mine to carry? Do I have the capacity to give right now? Will stepping in serve the highest good for both of us? From this place, you can witness someone's pain without making it your responsibility, and you can choose when and how to engage from a place of strength rather than obligation. When you arrive here, your empathy stops being a source of depletion and becomes a renewable resource. Fuel for your purpose, inspiration for your relationships, and a guiding light in your community. You serve from overflow, not from scarcity. Your energy inspires trust and respect, not because you give endlessly, but because you model what it looks like to live with an open heart and a strong spine. And that balance, compassion rooted in self-respect, is the true mark of an empowered empath. My hope for this business is that it helps you open your perspective on any given situation. You become more aware, compassionate, and filled with gratitude for the experience no matter what emotion you attach to it. You are here for a reason, you are amazing, and you're exactly where you're supposed to be. Let's go on this journey together. If today's episode spoke to you, please share it with someone who needs a reminder that their story matters. And if you haven't already, hit follow so you never miss an episode of the Awakened Soul Co-podcast. If you made it this far, I see you, and I'm so grateful that you're here. You matter, and I love you. Until next week, remember this: no matter where you are in your journey, you are exactly where you're supposed to be. Take a moment to recognize how far you come. If you are an empath, wear it proud, as you had to walk through fire to attain this precious gift.